ascension to power of Simon Harris is that Leo Varadkar and now 1/3 of Fine Gael TDs have abandoned the Fine Gael ship. They're not going to stand in the next election because they know they are going to be absolutely roasted for the failures of this government that has left us with an absolutely dire and ever worsening housing and homelessness crisis, with the health service crumbling with over 1 million people on waiting lists, chaos in our ED departments, and where they have failed to protect working people from the crippling impact of the cost of living crisis, whether it's mortgage interest hikes, whether it's extortionate energy bills, or of course the absolutely rack-renting, unaffordable rents being charged by corporate landlords and all of the property investors who are making a fortune out of the housing misery of ordinary people in this country. And already there's been indications Harris's government is also going to attack promised improvements in the sick leave entitlements of ordinary workers. So if anything, it looks like there could be a move to the right, back to the old school Fine Gael values of looking after the wealthy, of big business, while workers and ordinary people are attacked and failed. So we say we don't want to change a Taoiseach, we want a general election. We need a genuine left government that is going to stand up for the interests of ordinary working people in this country.
So today, unfortunately, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, Green and a series of independent TDs came together to vote for Simon Harris to be made Taoiseach and to deny people the right to have a general election, the right to decide what sort of government we have and whose interests they lead. They cannot stop the fact that there is going to be elections in just over 8 weeks' time, local and European elections. If they could avoid those elections, they absolutely would do it, but they simply can't. But this is an opportunity that people have. We think we should have had a general election, we think we should be having a general election now, but we are going to have these local and European elections, and this is an opportunity for people to give an eviction notice to Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael and the Greens and the other likes of them, to kick them out of the councils, to kick them out of the European Parliament, and to send a message that they're going to be kicked out of the government. There is another important lesson, I think, here for people today, when people are looking to punish this government, to look at who you punish them with. Because today you have the prospect of multiple TDs elected as independents who present themselves before the people as being independent, lining up to vote for support for Simon Harris. Many of these people who are standing as independents, who are as TDs or as councillors, are Fianna Fáil and Fine Gaelers temporarily in exile because they fell out with the party, because they didn't get the nomination or whatever. These people's ambition is simply to be part of a coalition with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. That's the truth of most of these people who are standing as independents. Of course, there are very honourable exceptions, principled left independents, people like Thomas Pringle, Catherine Connolly, Joan Collins. But beware and take today's lesson of all these independents voting for Simon Harris as Taoiseach as a lesson about what these sort of independents represent. We think there needs to be a left government, a government excluding Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. People Before Profit and Solidarity are the only parties that have clearly said we will not go into coalition with these parties. We think that the likes of Sinn Féin and Social Democrats should join us in making that pledge, and then we think we need to have a left government that actually fights for the kind of eco-socialist change that we need to see, that puts the needs of renters before the needs of landlords, that puts the needs of our the million people on hospital waiting lists before the private health industry, that puts the needs of everybody in this country ahead of the big polluting companies, the likes of Ryanair, CRH and big agribusiness.
I want to speak about the two violent incidents that have happened in Dublin over the last 10 days. One in the last couple of days in Dublin 8 and one in Clondalkin in the last 8 days. And for Joseph Strzok, he was a Croatian man that was visiting Ireland. His only crime was he was speaking another language than English, and for that he paid for his life. And all this horrible rhetoric used by far-right agitators is seen down to people that will use grotesque violence against people that are not Irish. And it's a really kind of terrible situation that people find themselves in relation to that intimidation and fear and hatred that some of these individuals are trying to sow. So I appeal to anybody and everybody to come together as a community. We're going to hold a vigil in Clondalkin this Friday at 6:30 in Grangeview Castle Estate to have solidarity and support for Joseph and all his friends and families. Where it's important as individuals, communities and workplaces, we absolutely reject this poison of hatred and racism, and we got to stick together as people that live in this country, regardless of where you come from.